Ready to call to order our meeting, the joint meeting of the City Council, Successor Agency to the Redevelopment Agency, Public Finance Authority, the Public Utility Authority, Housing Authority, Paris Joint Powers Authority, and the Paris Community Economic Development Corporation of the City of Paris. It's Tuesday, February 22nd, 2022 at 6:32 p.m. Madam Clerk, can we have a roll call, please?
Sure. Councilmember Rad?
Here.
Councilmember Rogers?
Here.
Councilmember Nava?
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Corona?
Here.
Mayor Vargas?
Here, thank you. And for those of you who are joining us on Zoom, if you would like to make a public comment on the Zoom screen, please click on the participants button at the bottom of your screen. A list of participants will appear on the right side of the screen. At the bottom of the list, please click on the gray raised hand button. This will signal to the host that you would like to provide public comment, and you'll be added to the list. If you are using Zoom on your smartphone, tap your screen, and your screen will pop up with the list of participants. Look for the raised hand button on the screen. For those who are calling using the landline, simply dial or hit *9 on your keypad to signal that you would like to make a comment. And to remove the signal, just hit *9 again. And we do have translation units. Anybody in the audience that would like a translation unit? Otherwise, we'll move on to item 3, which is our invocation, which will be led by Pastor Angelo Martinez of the Vida Christian Church. You'll all stand for that and then remain standing for item 4, which is our Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by Councilman Rabb.
I'm going to be reading a small portion of the Bible in Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. It says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths." Let's bow our heads and pray. Dear God, I thank you. I thank you, Father God, for being so wonderful, Lord, for giving us the opportunity to be together here. We ask you, Lord, that your name be glorified in everything that is done in this place, Lord, that everything that is being directed, that is being guided, Lord, but your Holy Spirit, God, in everything that is done, Lord, you will bless this city, Lord, each and every day, God, that everything that is going to be worked on, that you be the one giving everybody the wisdom, Lord, and the knowledge. In the name of Jesus, Lord, I ask you, Lord, to bless each and every one of the people that are standing here, that are here in this place, Lord, and all the people that are also listening, God, that you will guide them, Lord, and everything that is going to be done, Lord, you will give them the guidance to be able to get everything done in the proper manner, Lord. I ask you, Lord, in the holy name of your Son, Jesus Christ, the name that is above all names, Lord, I thank you and I praise you, God, and I ask you, Lord, to be in guiding each and everybody, Lord. In the name of Jesus, I ask you, Lord, and I thank you, dear God. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me as we salute the nation's flag. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor. Item 5 is a report on closed session items. Mr. Dunn.
Thank you, Mayor. The council met in closed session to discuss the one item noted on the agenda, and no reportable action was taken tonight.
Thank you. Item 6 is presentations and announcements. 6A is City of Paris Employee of the Quarter Recognition for the fourth quarter of 2021. And this will be presented by our Director of Administrative Services, Saida Musgar.
Thank you, Mayor. Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, the Employee Recognition Committee would like to recognize our Employee of the Quarter for fourth quarter of 2021. The Employee Recognition Committee is made up of staff members from each department, and they meet periodically to plan fun events and activities for the city team. But they also organize and oversee the Employee of the Quarter peer recognition program. And at this time, I'd like to introduce Mr. Martin Martinez, Management Analyst for the city's Community Services Department, and also this year's committee president to present this award. Thank you, Martin.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, council members, and city staff. Once again, my name is Martin Martinez, and I'm the president of this year's Employee Recognition Committee. As previously mentioned, one of the committee's responsibilities is to oversee the Employee of the Quarter program. This program was created to recognize city employees that display positive attitude, perform above and beyond their assigned duties, exhibit outstanding work ethic, and who offer new and innovative ideas to improve our service to our community. At this time, I am pleased to announce our Employee of the Quarter for the 2021 fourth quarter, Mr. Joseph Rivera, Landscape Maintenance District Inspector with the city's Public Works Department. Please come forward. And I would like to introduce to you Mr. Bryant Hill, Public Works Director, who will be sharing more insight on Mr. Rivera's work. Thank you.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, rest of the council, and staff. Joseph needs to be recognized as an exceptional employee for all his hard work and what he's been able to accomplish within the Special Districts Division of Public Works. Joseph goes above and beyond, assisting his coworkers and displays a positive attitude while working, which influences our team's success. Joseph always takes the time to answer any questions our team may have, provide helpful insights, and brings great knowledge to every discussion. Joseph is always looking for innovative ideas and is currently working with the Google Earth program by creating new layers and teaching our team the program's capabilities to improve our services. Joseph takes ownership of his assigned duties and has completed replanting projects throughout the city to assist in our beautification mission. Joseph has also taken the lead in converting some of our existing irrigation controllers to smart controllers to save on water costs and assist with California's drought crisis by automatically adjusting daily irrigation times based on weather patterns. As part of the smart controller conversion, Joseph has partnered with EMWD's WaterWise program and rebates to reimburse the city when installing these smart controllers. We are very pleased with Joseph's hard work, his dedication, and positive attitude, which he brings with him daily. Thank you, Joseph, and congratulations. Come down.
We'll come down and take a photo, yes. Congratulations. Sir. Where do you want?
Right here. We'll put you right here on this side.
Oh, yes, I'll take the microphone. Stuart. Can you hear me? Okay, Joseph, this is a gift certificate, I believe. So you have to take the mayor out wherever you go.
Yes, and we have a letter of recognition from city manager as well as a certificate of
This
recognition.
is a letter of recognition. I don't know how far it'll get you. All right, so the certificate reads, Joseph Rivera, employee of the fourth quarter, 2021. May it be known that the mayor and the city council of the city of Paris hereby recognize Joseph Rivera for his dedication and unwavering commitment to the city of Paris. Your efforts are commendable and greatly appreciated. Presented this day, the 22nd of February, 2022, and we're going to make you wait till 22 hours. Congratulations.
All right, here we go. On three. 1, 2, and 3. All right. Congratulations. Thank you, guys.
Before we go into any comments from council, I do apologize for not announcing. We all are here. Councilwoman Rogers is zooming from her residence, but she's here with us. So before we move on, anybody wants to make any comments for Joseph? Councilman Rab?
Yes, just want to congratulate Joseph in this outstanding award. Thank you for taking the initiative and helping conserve water and save the city money. And I think it's very important that you took the initiative to, with a smart sprinkler system, given that we are entering a drought. So once again, congratulations. I'd like to thank staff and thank Joseph for doing an outstanding job. Thank you.
Councilwoman Nava?
Thank you, Mayor. I too would like to congratulate Joseph and thank you for all that you do. I know that during these difficult times, navigating in the pandemic and just dealing with council's requests and whatnot, that it can be challenging. So we really appreciate your flexibility and just going above and beyond. And I'm sure you're super humble and don't want the recognition, but we sincerely thank you for taking the time and joining us here today, and we applaud you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Councilman Corona?
I too would like to give a big thank you to Mr. Rivera for all your hard work, and big congratulations, and to a big thank you to the community for bringing it back, with the employee recognition, so that gives us opportunity to recognize our wonderful employees. Thank you.
Councilwoman Rogers?
Yes. Thank you, Joseph, for doing an excellent job and serving the residents of Paris. And I know you do it with a smile and really enjoy what you do. And your innovation is outstanding. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Joseph. Ditto on what all my colleagues said. That we really do appreciate your work, the works of all the public works employees. Obviously, you stood out during that quarter, and well deserved. We appreciate it. And thank you again for your service. Okay, moving on. Item 7 is Youth Advisory Committee Communications. This will be given by Jasmine O'Malley, the Vice President of YAC.
Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, and City staff. Good afternoon. I am YAC's Vice President, Jasmine O'Malley, and today I will be providing an update on YAC's latest events and upcoming events. YAC proudly hosted a park cleanup this previous Saturday at Cooper Creek Park. It was a huge success, largely due to the participation of the Paris community. YAC is thrilled to be participating in the Unity Walk this Saturday at 9:30 a.m. from Ricardo Park to Falls Field. Shortly after, YAC will attend the Black History Expo to learn and celebrate achievements by African Americans. Soon after, on March 3rd, YAC will be hosting a job shadow day to expose high school students to potential careers. We welcome juniors, seniors, and avid teachers to take part and participate. Open Mic Night is returning. Our next Open Mic Night will take place on Friday, March 4 from 7 to 9 p.m. at the Statler Youth Center. Come join us for a fun and relaxing evening. YAC would like to bring awareness to Black History Month by celebrating William H. Hasty. Hasty was born in Knoxville, Tennessee in 1904. He graduated from Harvard with a Bachelor of Law degree. Hasty was highly successful. He was the first Black governor in the U.S. to serve a full term. Hasty is an inspiration to many today that every goal can be achieved. Lastly, YAC would like to remind everyone to please follow us on social media at Paris YAC for more updates and upcoming events. For more information on YAC or any events discussed today, please feel free to dial the Statler Youth Center at 951-435-7230, extension 400.
Thank you, Jasmine. Okay, item 9 is our approval of minutes. 9A is consideration to approve the minutes of the regular meeting held on February 8th, 2022 of the City Council and the rest of the entities as listed on our agenda. If nobody has any comments or questions, I'll entertain a motion to approve. Pardon me? Did I miss something? I sure did. My apologies. Item 8, public comments. Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak?
No, sir.
IT?
Yes, sir. We have Natalie Solares.
Okay, Natalie, if you're on, you got 3 minutes.
Hi there. Sorry, I apologize. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you to City Council. I was raised in Paris and recently moved back, and really appreciate all the community events that go on around the community. I have a 1.5-year-old daughter, and it's just nice to be able to go to different community events and like the park, hiking, fun little festivals. The snow was really great. But I have a couple comments. I'm just really concerned about the effects of climate change and wondering whether the city of Paris has a like a climate goals in order to become a resilient environment. I know there's a lot of urbanization, more warehouses around the city, and that's just to me very disappointing because that's just ruining all the open soil and land that's available. And wondering what can we do in order to restore that habitat that we're losing with that, and so that we can store more carbon, improve the soil, reduce the heat effect that we have. The city of Paris is pretty unique that we do have some level of urbanization, right? But still a good amount of land, and wondering how can we support or protect the current non-developed land so that it can stay with all the native plants that are around. Maybe throw out some California poppy seeds. What can we do to protect the natural environment in the city? And one last comment for my mom, wondering if there's any possibility to be able to remove a non-native tree, like out in the sidewalk area, and put a native tree. Are there those types of options available for us?
Thank you. IT, anybody else?
That is all, sir.
Okay. Item 9 is our approval of minutes. 9A is consideration to approve the minutes of the regular meeting held on February 8th, 2022 of the City Council, and the rest of the entities as listed on our agenda. If there are no comments or questions from council, I'll entertain a motion to approve. A motion by Councilman Rab, a second by Councilwoman Nava. Please call roll call vote.
Councilmember Rab?
Yes.
Councilmember Rogers?
Yes.
Councilmember Nava?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Corona?
Yes.
Mayor Vargas?
Yes.
5-0, motion approved.
Thank you. Item 10 is our consent calendar. Consent calendar items are normally enacted in one motion. The mayor or city council may remove a consent calendar item for a separate action. We will have public comment and we'll allow 3 minutes. Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak?
No, sir.
IT?
No, sir.
Very good. The council, if no one has any questions or comments or anything they want to pull, I'll entertain a motion to approve. I have a motion by Councilwoman Nava, second by Councilman Rab. Please call a roll call vote.
Councilmember Rab?
Yes.
Councilmember Rogers?
Yes.
Councilmember Nava?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Corona?
Yes.
Mayor Vargas?
Yes.
5-0, motion approved.
Thank you. Item 11 is our public hearings. 11A is consideration to adopt proposed resolution number next in order regarding an annexation of DPR 18-00011 into CFD 2001-3, the North Paris Public Safety District. And this will be introduced by our Deputy City Manager, Mr. Ernie Reyna.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. For this item, I will have our consultant, Daniel Louie of Wildan, make this presentation. Daniel, go ahead.
Thank you, Ernie. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Council members. These two resolutions on the agenda are for the annexation of property for project DPR 18-00011, owned by Duke Realty Limited Partnership, into the Public Safety CFD 2001-3. The Public Safety CFD was formed in 2002 to fund additional public safety services needed as the city develops. At the meeting on January 11th, the City Council adopted resolution of intent and to declare the intent to annex and setting the date for the public hearing for tonight. So tonight, the city will hold a public hearing, and if there are no protests, adopt a resolution calling for a special election. The property owner has waived the waiting period, so we may conduct the special election tonight. And finally, once the election is conducted, the council may adopt a second resolution declaring the results of the election. And that concludes my presentation. I will be here to answer any questions.
Thank you, Daniel. Council, any questions or comments for clarification? Okay, I'm going to open up the public hearing. Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak?
No, sir.
IT?
No, sir.
Anybody in the audience at this time wishing to speak? Okay, we're going to close public hearing, and I'll call for a motion on the first resolution. I have a motion by Councilwoman Nava, second by Councilman Rabb. Please call a roll call vote.
Councilmember Rabb?
Yes.
Councilmember Rogers?
Yes.
Councilmember Nava?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Corona?
Yes.
Mayor Vargas?
Yes,
5-0, motion approved.
thank you. Okay, Madam Clerk, can you open the ballot, please?
Community Facilities, District Number 2001-3, North Paris, Public Safety of the City of Paris, Annexation Number 46, Special Tax and Appropriations Limit Election. The ballot is marked yes.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, I'll call for a motion on the second resolution. A motion by Councilman Rabb, second by Mayor Pro Tem Corona. Please call a roll call vote.
Councilmember Rabb?
Yes.
Councilmember Rogers?
Yes.
Councilmember Nava?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Corona?
Yes.
Mayor Vargas?
Yes,
5-0, motion approved.
thank you. 11B is consideration to adopt proposed resolution number next in order regarding annexation of DPR 18-00011 to CFD 2018-02, Public Services District. This will be introduced by Deputy City Manager Ernie Reyna.
Thank you again, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. For this item, once again, I'll have Daniel Louie of Willdale make this presentation. Go ahead, Daniel.
Thank you, Ernie. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and council members. This project is the same project as we just approved for the annexation into 2001-3. This item is for annexation into the Public Services CFD 2018-02. The CFD was formed in 2018 to provide funds for maintenance costs of public services such as the city trail system. On January 11th, the City Council adopted a resolution of intent setting tonight as the public hearing date. Therefore, we request that the city hold the public hearing and again, hold the special election for this, for the annexation of this project. If there are any questions, I will be here to answer. So,
Thank you, Daniel. Council, anybody have any questions or comments? Okay, we're going to open up the public hearing. Madam Clerk, do you have any requests to speak?
No, sir.
IT?
No, sir.
Anybody in the audience wishing to speak on this item? Very good. We will close public hearing. I'll call for a motion on the first resolution. I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Corona, second by Councilman Rabb. Please call roll call vote.
Councilmember Rabb?
Yes.
Councilmember Rogers?
Yes.
Councilmember Nava?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Corona?
Yes.
Mayor Vargas?
Yes,
5-0, motion approved.
thank you. Madam Clerk, can you open the ballot, please?
Community Facilities, District Number 2018-02, Public Services District of the City of Paris, Annexation Number 8, Special Tax and Appropriations Limit Election. The ballot is marked yes.
Thank you. Okay, I'll now call for a motion on the second resolution. A motion by Councilwoman Nava, second by Councilman Rab. Please call roll call vote.
Councilmember Rab,
Yes.
Councilmember Rogers,
Yes.
Councilmember Nava,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Corona,
Yes.
Mayor Vargas.
Yes.
5-0, motion approved.
Thank you. 11C is consideration to introduce the first reading of proposed ordinance number next in order, which changes the method of electing city council members other than the mayor from at-large to by district, adopts by district maps and identifying the number for each district and establishes related procedure. And this will be introduced by our city attorney, Mr. Eric Dunn.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. We are nearing the end of the process to switch to districts. Just to catch up, the city held 2 outreach meetings before the process even started. Then there was a series of 4 public hearings and receiving input from the council members and the community. And all that resulted in the council at the last meeting selecting map number 4 is what we call it, city council map number 4, which is on the screen here. There are other slides detailing it that you've seen before. The map can be adopted by a resolution, but the switch to districts requires an ordinance. That's why you have an ordinance in front of you tonight. So the ordinance will change the code, it will adopt the maps, and it will set forth the staggering of which districts will be adopted first, or which districts will be up for election first. And on that note, districts 1 and 3. So you can see them on your monitor. Those are the 2 districts that are up for election in November of 2022. And then 2 and 4 will be up for election in November 2024. The council members that were elected at this last election will continue to serve the 4 years. It doesn't change anything like that, but it takes 2 election cycles to settle out, the district elections. One thing that, in my experience, is very important for people to understand is that one of the differences between having district elections and at-large elections is that with district elections, anyone running for office must reside in and be a registered voter in that district at the time nomination papers are pulled, as opposed to when the election is held. So anyone wanting to run in districts 1 and 3 need to reside in and be a registered voter in those districts when they pull their papers. Other than that, the goal is to get this to the county registrar by April 17th, so that these may occur with the election in November of 2022. Mr. Westall is not here tonight, but I'll try to answer any questions you might have. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Council, before I open up the public hearing, anybody have any comments or questions, clarifications? Okay, seeing none in the queue, I'll open up the public hearing. Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak?
No, sir.
IT?
Yes, sir. First, we have Nanette Plasencia.
Okay, Nanette, if you're on, you got 3 minutes.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, hi. Hello, good evening, Mayor and City Council members. I understand that your recommendations are to move forward with MAP 4. However, I'm asking you all again to reconsider that. I understand you had a specific date you wanted to have this done by, but if that process ends up taking longer, then so be it. Because of the seriousness of this matter, it's best to have a map that works best towards all residents of the community. And looking at map number 4, as it is drawn out in its current state, that is not happening. Some things that stand out is that it splits neighboring communities of interest, especially in the northern part of the city. Second, the map has districts that are not contiguous, which is very obvious to see by the shape of the map. as well as the population, is not evenly distributed amongst the districts. So I ask that you all take a little bit more time to reconsider map number 4. And if need be, let's start back at the drawing board one more time. Thank you, and I appreciate you giving me the time.
Thank you. Anybody else? IT?
No, sir.
Anybody in the audience at this time wish to speak on this particular item? Hearing and seeing none, we'll close the public comment. And council, if anybody doesn't have any questions or comments, I'll call for a motion on the first reading of the ordinance. Have a motion by Councilwoman Nava. Second by Mayor Pro Tem Corona. Please call roll call vote.
Councilmember Rabb,
Yes.
Councilmember Rogers,
You're muted.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Yes.
Councilmember Nava,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Corona,
Yes.
Mayor Vargas,
Yes,
5-0, motion approved.
thank you. Item 12 is our business items not requiring a public hearing. 12A is consideration to approve the purchase of a Shotspotter policing technology. This will be introduced by our Deputy City Manager, Mr. Ernie Reyna.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. For this particular item, I'm calling upon Captain Sims to make this presentation, so I'm going to give it over to him.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. I'm here tonight to speak to you about the shot detection technology, Shotspotter. So a little bit of the gun violence statistics from Paris are since January of 2020, Paris has had over 750 firearm-related calls. Did I do that? There we go. Over 600 of those calls were either shots fired or shots heard. The remainder of those calls were weapons-related crimes or incidents, such as assault with firearms, robberies, illegal possession, felons in possession of firearms, negligent discharges, and accidental shootings. Gun violence in Paris resulted in 84 people that were injured by gunfire and 11 gunfire-related homicides, and that's just since January of 2020. So what is ShotSpotter? So ShotSpotter is a system that provides automatic gunshot detection, alert, and analysis, which enhances our response and our investigation. So what will happen is there'll be acoustic equipment that will be put up throughout the area that we designate, and that'll help give us a precise location for a rapid response by first responders. So the system's core capabilities are it can detect, so it quickly locates the gunfire. It'll protect, which is a comprehensive information and provides critical response information. So the officers responding will be armed with more information than we have now. A lot of times we get these calls and it's just shots heard. If it happens within the area we have this deployed, it'll tell us how many shots, give us a precise location, may tell us if there's multiple shooters, how many shots were fired. So that's a lot more than what we respond with now. It's connect, so we have a rapid response by the officers to communities impacted by gunfire. And then why do many shooting incidents go unreported? And we have this a lot here in Paris. Oftentimes we have gunshots, we have gunshot victims show up at the hospitals, and we never got a call on it. In fact, we just had one this past weekend. A gentleman showed up at the hospital, shot in the back. Eventually, we found out he was shot in the area of D and 11th Street, I believe. No call was ever called in, and we all know that area. There's houses all over, no call. So a lot of that falls into what we have is here, resignation. It happens all the time. Or we have retaliation. People are fearful to call us. They just don't want to be involved. A lot of times was that gunfire, was that fireworks, something like that, and then redundancy. Somebody else probably called. We do hear that quite often. So this will drastically increase the amount of calls or the gunshots that we're able to respond to. So what will happen is the Shotspotter technicians will install the various sensors throughout the proposed area. The system will listen for impulsive sounds, so gunfire, very loud sounds. It's not out there to detect people speaking. It won't pick that up. And then sound triangulation will tell us within 82 feet where that shot was. And then the incident will go through a two-phase review process. So some algorithms will run and it'll say, yep, I think that was gunfire. That will then get moved on to a human who will then listen to this, the recording, analyze it and say, yes, I think that's gunfire, and push that out. All of that will happen within 60 seconds or less. So how do the deputies get these calls? So the calls will go out multiple ways. They can go out to deputies, their iWatch, their cell phones. It'll go out to the computer in their car, as well as dispatch. So all of this will happen without anybody even having to call us. The system will do this automatically. We will be provided with the precise location, a date stamp and time when it occurred, how many shooters, was it an automatic weapon, high capacity, and we'll also get audio clips of the gunfire. The deputies will be able to push that on their phone and hear it right then. So the benefits of ShotSpotter, we've covered some of these, but we have accurate location for the first responders. This is not only us, but the fire department will know where to go if somebody's shot laying there. Oftentimes, we do find that. It takes us a while to find the person laying there on the ground because we do only respond to, I heard shots. So life-saving measures will be able to preserve evidence, locate witnesses, locate and apprehend the shooting suspects if possible. Better information for us. Again, identify if we have multiple shooters, the types of weapons used, and then provides critical information for a safer response. And then that sound evidence can assist us later on down the road if we do make an arrest. But the ShotSpotter data is only used for the investigation part of it. We will not be making an arrest solely based on this information. So the ShotSpotter data is used in concert with other forensic and investigative findings. So this is where we are looking to deploy ShotSpotter. So ShotSpotter used 2 years of the shooting statistics that we provided them, and we identified 4 square miles. And this just gives you a rough area of where we were looking to put it. So the north boundary would be Ryder Street, south boundary Ellis, and then the west boundary, depending on which portion you look at here, the red area will be in the area of A Street, the blue area is Paris, and then the east boundary will go out to about Marietta Road. And that may change as we go to deploy this and install it, but that's kind of where we're looking to put it for now. Paris will be the first city in Riverside County to have this technology. Other cities in California that do use these are Bakersfield. They saw a 9-minute reduction in response times to shooting events, and they renewed their contract in 2020. Fresno reports 96% accuracy rate, and they also expanded their coverage in 2020. And San Pablo reported a 70% decrease in gunfire, and they also recently expanded. Pasadena also in October also went online with ShotSpotter, or they agreed to go with ShotSpotter. I know privacy concerns may come up. So there's been a few independent studies done on this. The New York University Policing Project, they conducted a privacy assessment and determined the risk of voice surveillance to be extremely low. And also Oakland Privacy Advisory Commission, they didn't find any violations of their surveillance use policy for the city. And lastly, the fiscal impact. So the cost of the contract per year would be $239,000 for 4 square miles. What this We do get a discounted rate for the first 2 square miles at $49,500, and then our other 2 square miles over the first 2 would be billed at a rate of $70,000. The contract is for two years, which is why you see that $478,000 there. And then with the multiple year contract, we do get a waiver of the initiation and the onboarding fee, so that saves $20,000 on the front end. And with that, that concludes my presentation, and I'm willing to take any questions. I do have Jason Silva is here from Shotspotter, if you have any questions for him.
Thank you. Council, anybody have any questions or comments?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I do, Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Okay. You know, great, with the presentation was fantastic. So I'm trying to see how this exactly works. I kind of have an idea. I've spoken to you. I've spoken to other people. Are you able to move it if there's like a certain area that might be, you know, like kind of nearby that's seems to be more problematic? Is there a way to move them, or does that take months to move?
Maybe Jason could answer this for me, but from what I know of it, about 25 to 30 sensors are put in over each square mile. So to actually move it would probably be a pretty large undertaking. So we wouldn't be able just to kind of move it as we wish. It's fairly permanent once it goes in.
Okay, and then you know, if we were to vote for it, how soon would we expect it to be up online and everything?
So the early estimates, and Jason could help me out with this a little bit, probably summertime, by the time we get up and running, is...
Time for 4th of July.
Yes, for 4th of July. So that's our goal, is to maybe the May, June.
Okay, and speaking of 4th of July, it does differentiate between a firework and a gunshot.
It does, yes.
Okay.
So we won't be running around to constant fireworks
No, you're going to be
calls.
running around, but you're going to be running around to the right calls of
We will.
gunfire.
It will separate those two. So
Yes.
we did our best with the stats I gave you here with the 750. I'm sure some of those are fireworks calls. However, we weren't able to comb through all of them. So we tried to eliminate some on dates and locations and stuff, so.
Okay, and then from the 84 shooting incidents that there were,
Yes.
where a person was involved, what percentage of those falls within that 4 square miles that were?
So I took a preliminary look at this. It's roughly 80% is what I could see.
Okay.
So we're covering almost our whole area where we do find most of our shootings occur. We're covering, I mean, pretty close to all of it. If you statistically look at it, almost all of it. So I actually am very comfortable with the area that we have identified, and I think it captures most of our shootings. I think that the deployment's pretty right on.
Okay, thank you. I think that's all the questions I have now.
Before I move on, you said Jason?
Yes, Jason.
Can you answer the question regarding if we needed to, let's just say, you know, someone moved in and, or moved out, whatever, and our area kind of like expanded out. What would be the process if we needed to?
Typically, every year, at least once a year, we're going to have a sit-down meeting with your deputies to review the system, how it's working, to review the stats of the system. If we find, because we base everything off of data and analytics.
Right.
We want to really stick with that. So if we're seeing that the data is showing us that you were having more calls or more shots fired outside of the coverage area, we can determine, okay, should we add something here? Should we, you know, turn off a section over here, maybe move it a half square mile over to another location? We can do that, but we are very data driven. So it's not a process where we just pick up and move the system and move it somewhere else. We want to make sure.
I get that. I'm just saying, if let's just say after, like you said.
Yes, sir.
After a year in review, it is possible.
Yes.
To tweak it.
Yes, sir, it is. Absolutely.
Now, if there's any tweaking involved, is that additional cost or is that part of the contract?
That's going to be have to decide with our engineers at the time of that, depending on what kind of lift we're talking about. But typically, we shut off an area and add sensors to another area because you never know. You might want to go back to the area that was turned off, and we could turn
True.
it back on again without
Very
coming
true.
back to hang everything again.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Council, anybody else?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rogers?
I've been noticing a lot on my Ring system through the neighbor alerts that late at night, there are always somebody posting about hearing gunshots, and they're not quite sure if they are gunshots or fireworks. So I think this system will help differentiate between the two. I think it's very valuable for the community. I know our number one concern in my years on the council has always been public safety. And being able to get to a place very quickly within that 60 seconds differential of being notified and being able to dispatch the officers to a possible gunshot situation is going to be very valuable. And I definitely support this. And even if we need to expand it in the future, I would definitely recommend that, because I think it's vital that every resident feels safe and secure in their home. And if there is a shooting and somebody is injured or hurt, the quicker you can get there, the faster we can save lives. So I'm a big proponent of this. And thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
Anybody else? Councilman Reb?
Yes, just like to thank for the presentation. Over a month ago, Mayor Vargas brought the representatives from the company in and were given a in-depth presentation regarding the system. And as a member of the law enforcement community, as a DA, I think it's really important to have this technology able to limit or determine where the gunshots are coming, to be able to render aid to people. And I understand as well that this contract includes a engineer or somebody with in-depth knowledge on this agreeing to come in and testify in court if there is, say, a murder or negligent discharge or something along those lines. So given all that, given the presentation, I'm happy to support this particular project.
Thank you. Councilwoman Alva?
Thank you, Mayor, and appreciate, did you have a comment to before I ask my question?
No.
Thank you, Chief Sims, for the presentation. There was a map that expressed the delineated blue and red. Can you
Yes.
just help clarify what those two?
So the blue and red was the two pricing differences. So the one was the $70,000 and the other one was the $49,500. So that was just saying this is the area at this price and this is the area at that price.
Perfect.
That's
thank
all
you.
that was, yeah.
Okay, thank you. And I wanted to clarify that because one of my concerns as well is the safety for our residents, and I just wanted to make sure that we're expressing how much we're covering with this and strategic placement and whatnot. So it's really important that we consider this item. So thank you so much for the presentation.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. So as Councilman Rab made the comment about him and I, it was brought to our public safety ad hoc. I just want to bring that out, that we invested over an hour and a half with the company going over all the information of what it does, and that's why it's here today. We approved it to go forward and bring it to you. I also want to give prompts. I don't remember the citizen's name, but this was brought to me a few years back, and it was a lot expensive back then, and there was no way we could have afforded it. She would rather had me do the whole city, and that's definitely was way out of our ballpark. However, the fact that we are here today and bringing this to council and that we can cover that you think 4 square miles, you think that how much is that? Well, the city's 32 square miles, and after you look at the map, I didn't realize he reached all the way out to Ryder, which is on the north end, clear down to Alice. I mean, that is a pretty wide area that we're covering. So, very pleased with that, and I wouldn't look forward to relocating. I would just look forward to adding on to the program if need be down the road. But anyway, this is a great program. So, with that, I'm going to open up public. You may sit down, Chief.
All right, thank you.
I'm going to call for public comment. Madam Clerk, did we have any requests to speak on this item?
No, sir.
IT?
Yes, sir. We have Nanette Plasencia.
Annette, you're on. You got 3 minutes.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, hello again this evening. I want to say, it's very important that, the safety of our residents comes first. It's a serious matter. We need to approve devices that we're going to use to protect our city, but we need to make sure that they're the right kind of, technology that our city needs. I ask that you please reconsider providing funding for this Shotspotter. I ask this because I'm very concerned that this device might potentially bring unnecessarily police activity to our pretty peaceful neighborhoods. A report from NBC News by John Shoup and Joshua Eaton, they wrote about how Shotspotter has come under scrutiny, stating the company's tactics have drawn concern from civil liberties advocates and policing experts who say it is pushing law enforcement agencies to embrace expensive technology without enough proof from researchers that it curbs crime. Shoup and even also explain, this is them quoting, that in Chicago, the MacArthur Justice Center and the city's Office of the Inspector General last year released studies of police data saying that Shotspotter alerts rarely lead to evidence of a gun crime and made officers more apt to stop and search people. This study also voiced Shotspotter alerts focused almost exclusively in Black and Latino communities. As well as another citing from a motherboard investigation from Vice by Todd Feathers expresses that Shotspotter frequently generates false alerts and it's deployed almost exclusively in non-white neighborhoods. Jonathan Mays, an attorney with MacArthur Justice Center at the Northwestern Pritzker School of Law, who has studied Shotspotter in his city, tells Motherboard, and I quote, his quote is, "The system is telling police that every time they go out in response to a Shotspotter alert, they should assume that anybody in the vicinity is armed and they've just fired a weapon. The system is telling police officers that anybody in the area is a mortal threat." The author, Todd Feathers, also clarifies that community members and civil rights activists in Chicago say false Shotspotter alerts bring a flood of unnecessary police into their neighborhoods. So Mayor and City Council, I ask, the large amount of money it costs the city to have Shotspotter be used in a more beneficial way. For example, the money
Okay,
can
thank
be
you,
used
Ms.
towards the
Nanette,
kids
your
and
time-
teens of our community.
Nanette, your
To
time
be
is
able
up.
to offer them more things, just to keep them busy.
Nanette, your time is up. Thank you. Any more IT?
No, sir.
Anybody in the audience wishing to speak at this time? Okay, we'll close the public hearing or public comment, and I'll entertain a motion. If council doesn't have any more questions, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I do have a question.
Mayor Pro Tem,
For the, I can't remember your name.
Jason?
Jason. To kind of clarify some questions, I kind of read through it, and the presentation that we were given as well was that some of these policing organizations that are independent, that they don't have an issue with some of the other things. But I saw something from ACLU. Are you familiar with that or anything?
No, sir, I'm not. I'm a former police officer, and I use this system as well, so I could speak to that. I'm not familiar with the ACLU as far as any kind of issues they had with the system.
Okay. Okay. I'm just trying to prevent any issues in the future or anything like that. So are you familiar with anything that has ever happened in California, like any other organizations having issues with it?
Not to my knowledge, sir, no.
Okay.
Not to my knowledge, me using the system in the city of Richmond, California, and Northern California,
Okay.
nor since I've been with the company for the past 2 years. I haven't heard of anything, sir.
Okay. And then with the data that was given from Captain Sims, with the reduction in crime, is that attributed solely to ShotSpotter, or is that?
ShotSpotter is a tool in the toolbox for the police officers. We give you the when and where. We don't say who. We don't dictate how your officers are going to respond or anything or along the tactics or anything along that nature. We just give them the data, the where and the when.
Okay. I mean, just a tool. I mean, you know, with the way that our own officers react is pretty much up to our own sheriff's department. It's
Yes,
not
sir.
really
Yes, sir,
dictated
that's
by the
correct.
tool.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
And then you know, I just do want to bring up a comment. Sorry about that. Got my ring going on. I do want to see that maybe in a year after they talked about it that we do kind of come here and have some data to kind of show that it is working or not working, right? And that we do do a review every year on it. That's all the comments I have.
Anybody else? Yeah, a review, I think a review would be automatic anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes along with a lot of things. There's always going to be pros and cons and people making negative comments, positive comments. As a retired police officer, Jason said he's a police officer. And just one example I'll give and we'll move on. If you are responding to a shots fired call and you get to the area and there's people all around the area, a police officer is going to assume someone out there has a gun. It's automatic. You're going to have to treat that way. That's a matter of survival for you and anybody else that's in that in that vicinity of all the people. So there's just a lot of misnomers and anyway. Okay. That being said, I will entertain a motion to approve. I have a motion by Councilman Rabb, second by Councilwoman Nava. Please call roll call vote.
Councilmember Rabb,
Yes.
Councilmember Rogers,
Yes.
Councilmember Nava,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Corona,
Yes.
Mayor Vargas,
Yes.
5-0, motion approved.
Thank you. 12B is consideration to approve fiscal year 2021-2022 mid-year budget and the American Rescue Plan Act, also known as ARPA, of 2021 amendments, introduced by Deputy City Manager Ernie Reyna.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. So tonight before you, we have the mid-year 21-22 budget, as well as the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, some revisions we're making for that. So tonight, we're going to serve this as a report card of what we've been doing so far for this current fiscal year. So first, we'll talk about the adopted budget, where we were on June 8th when we adopted that budget, what we've done with this budget and the amendments, and where we look to go with our projections. We'll talk about where our reserve levels are at. We'll go ahead and talk about the general fund expenditures that we're revising on this particular item, as well as the revenues in the general fund and where those are going. We'll talk a little bit about the funds outside of the general fund, which include our special revenue and enterprise funds. And then we'll do a little review of what we did back on June 8th when we adopted our budget, where we talked about where revenues do come from. So we'll give a little refresher on that. We'll talk about the city revenues and its sales tax, how we get those particular sales tax revenues. And then the general fund expenditures by department. We'll show you the breakdown of that. And then lastly, we'll go over the ARPA review and show you what we're doing for the ARPA there. So with that, here we go. So back on June 8th, we went ahead and adopted a budget for 21-22. And that budget showed revenues of about $56.7 million against expenditures of about the same amount. At that point, we were about $3,500 surplus, more or less. And so what you'll see today is an injection of revenues. Revenues coming from several sources, which I'll go through a little bit down the line here. But we're adding about $6.8 million in revenues. And so now you'll see that going from $56.7 million to roughly $63.5 million. On the expenditure side, we were at 56.7, and as we go through the general fund expenditure departments, you'll see that we're adding about $1.2 million in expenditures to roughly come up to roughly 57.9, almost $58 million. As of right now, the way it's looking, we're about $5.5 million up from where we were on the original adoption of the budget back on June 8th. And so looking at projections of where we could go, we're coming pretty close to where we think we're going to be at, but we're going to end up probably about $5.5 million plus. And as I go through the revenues, I'll describe what we haven't even got in yet, so there'll be some adjustments coming up. And typically in October, we make the final review of that current fiscal year, and you'll see exactly where we're going to land. So kind of giving you that. And when we talk about revenues and expenditures, it's always important to talk about reserves and where we stand. There's different levels, different categories of reserves. And so I want to make it clear about what these are so we understand when we talk about reserves, which portions we can use and which ones we can't. First and foremost, we have one called non-spendable, and that's a requirement that we have to put in there, and what that covers are prepaid items and deposits. So we have to put that aside off the top, and as you can see, our current reserves stand at $54 million, or fund balance. So 7.8 of that, almost 7.9 of that $1 million is called non-spendable. We cannot touch that. Second category is called committed. Now, the committed part is the portion, the 35% threshold that we cannot touch. Those are the amounts that we set aside for current year expenditures to ensure we have enough to cover for that fiscal year. That equates to roughly $20.5 million, which has been set aside, and that's where that part is at. The next category is called assigned, and the next slide will actually show you where that assignment is broken down by, but every year we have that in the budget of $6.2 million. And then lastly, we come up to one called uncommitted. Now, basically, these are the types of reserves that you can actually touch and use if you need to. That's standing at $19.3 million, which is up from the last time I gave you a review back on June 8th for the budget itself. So, as I mentioned, the assigned reserves are set at $6.2 million. So those haven't changed. That was designated by council. And what that 6.2 covers, as a refresher, is that we set aside $3.4 million for disaster preparedness. We always have $1.3 million set aside for vehicles and equipment, another $1.3 for major capital improvements, and then finally another $200,000 for budget contingencies to make up the 6.2. So again, this is the committed part that we have in the budget every year. So now I'm going to shift our attention over to general fund amendments for expenditures. And so the departments in finance got together probably a month or two ago, and so we sat down and looked at where their budgets were going, what they needed in several departments. And so this is what this is. And I have the department directors here. If there's any particular questions, I can call them on up. They can answer these. But what I'm going to do now is give you a high-level overview of what's in the packet that you had for your staff report. So first, starting with community services, we have a couple items here that we're amending. And first and foremost, we went through the department to ensure that anything they were requesting was being offset in other areas. We did that to the best of our ability. There's a few areas, though, they are requesting monies for, and first one being for temporary staff services. So there's $20,000 there to continue that through the rest of the year to ensure we have proper levels of staffing for that. We also need an additional $1,350 for bilingual pay. So as employees come aboard or as they take their test and they receive that bilingual pay that wasn't in the budget before, that's what that is. So all in all, we're adding an additional $21,350 to this particular department. Next up is Public Works. So Public Works did have quite a few of items that were higher on the dollar amounts that we did not have in the budget originally. Some things changed. Either some of the costs have rise for fuel, as you can see there, for $50,000. Sometimes as we examine invoices, we find that just wasn't enough in the original budget. As you can see, that we need additional $200,000 for engineering services as well. There's other items such as a residence pickup, bulky item drop-offs that we did not anticipate. So we're asking an additional $60,000 for that part of it all. So all in all, when it comes to Public Works, in the general fund, we're talking about a $465,000 increase. And as you see when we get to revenues, this is how we're going to offset it with the incoming revenues right now. Moving over to administration, which includes the city manager's department, HR, and the city clerk. We are actually adding a new position here. So that's the legislative analyst, and that's about $114,000. And then when it comes to insurance premiums, the insurance carriers do provide us with estimates of what we think those dollar amounts are. Sometimes those change mid-year, so what we have in the budget is not quite enough. And this is several categories of insurance premiums, not just one. So we're talking about $166,000 that we have to increase that. So for this department, we're looking at $280,000 of increases that we need to adjust for this mid-year amendment. Next is IT. And IT also has a department, a position that they'll be adding, which is a geographical information analyst, GIS person. So they're requesting $108,000 for this particular position. Another $48,000 plus to increase expansion of the current alarm system we have in place, as well as to purchase some new equipment for staff they have, Macintoshes and the likes of that. So their increase is about $157,000 here. So next is public safety. We just had the item on Shotspotter, and this amount is included in the budget amendment for this year. So that's $239,000 for this particular fiscal year. Next year, or the next amendment we're going to go around, we'll add the $239 to that one as well, but this one just covers this year here. And as you can see, we have another $85,000 for the school resource officer down at Paris High School. So in total for public safety, we're increasing their budget by $324,000. So all in all, as I mentioned before, we're increasing expenditures in the general fund by $1.2 million, which will be offset by the revenues I'm going to discuss next. So we're fortunate in the sense that when we did the budget amendments, or when we did the budget, we didn't account for these particular items, but they did come in higher. As we consult with our consultants, they've indicated that there's actual more money coming in than we anticipated. So the first is the vehicle license fee, or what they call en lieu now, and that's $625,000, so we're increasing revenue by that much. On the sales tax part, we're increasing sales tax revenue by almost $2 million. And this amount does not include any amounts we have not yet received from Amazon. So there's a potential for that to go up even further. And then cannabis tax revenue. So I believe the budget we had set forth was $3.6 million. We're adding another $800,000 to that. So that's coming up even higher to $4.5 million or so. So another $800,000 to cannabis tax revenue. And then finally, we'll talk about Arpa next. Originally, we had decided to put the Arpa revenues all in year 2, which for us was 22-23. We're actually shifting that from the second year over to the first year. So we're adding almost $4 million in revenues into the current year right now. So that's how we come up with the $6.8 million. And so when we net that against the expenditures that we're increasing, our net revenue is still about $5.5 million for this current year that we didn't have before. So I'll pause right there if there's any questions I can answer for you. Okay. So shifting over to the special revenue, this amount is within the Public Works Department. And so Public Works oversees some of these districts, special districts, if you will. There are some items in there for pole knockdowns, some additional amounts that we need, so we're requesting an additional $65,000. These special revenue funds or special districts are self-sufficient. They actually have the monies in them, but we're requesting of council to be able to use those monies so that it can be used going forwards there. So $65,000 towards the pole knockdowns in these particular fund. And then lastly, an enterprise fund, which is our water department. Public Works Department staff actually applied for a grant through the State Board Resource Board and actually received that grant to the tune of almost $900,000. And that grant was to offset those customers who did not pay or could not pay for their water bill. So that goes to kind of plug in the amounts that we did not have in that department before. So that actually helps to offset the water loss that we could have potentially in those departments. So staff is preparing those numbers to take a look at to ensure that wherever we stand with those enterprise funds that we're going to be flush for this year. So that will come back to council pretty soon here. And so next, I talked about doing a review of what we did June 8th. Kind of a refresher of where sales tax revenues come from, the various categories of how the city actually has revenues and where they're coming from. So this pie chart, and it's kind of small, so I do apologize, just shows where the bulk of our revenue comes from. And if you can see, the sales and use tax is actually the highest percentage, is roughly 30%, 36%, more than a third of our revenue comes from our sales and use tax, or $22 million. That's the biggest chunk of the piece of the pie. Property tax comes in next at 16%. That's roughly $8.6 million. Then you can see the various other categories of where we get our revenues from. Cannabis tax is up there, 7%. Franchise fees is 5%. We have other taxes, which is something not in those categories. And then the VLF, which is the vehicle license fee, 12%. And then transfers coming in from other areas of roughly 12%. So based on where we were at before, revenue's looking at about $63.5 million for the general fund. And then you may be asking, where did the sales tax revenues come from? How do we get that? So when somebody buys something within the city itself, you charge a 7.5% sales tax. Well, roughly 1% of that 7.5%, also known as that Bradley Burns, comes back to the city. That 1% is kept for us, and that's what this pie chart shows, where the various percentages go, with the 1% going to the city of Paris, other areas going towards something like Measure A, the 0.5%. The state general fund takes up most of it, almost 4%, and then county realignment, county transportation fund, et cetera, et cetera. This is how your sales tax money is received by the city.
It needs to be noted, too, a lot of our neighbors have increased their sales tax.
Yes.
Paris has not touched it.
We have not. That's correct. That's correct. So we're going strictly on the 1% the city receives. And then lastly, again, this was shown at the June 8th, but it's helpful to get an understanding of which departments are using the funds that we have here. So roughly almost $58 million in expenditures, and it shows how the city is spending the money. And this is common amongst most cities. You're close to 50% in public safety. We stand about 48%, so that's the biggest chunk right there, which is to be expected. You have departments like community service taking up almost 13%, and then you have development services about 13% as well, public works about 10.5%, administration up near 11%. Finance at 2%, IT at about 3%. It's just a little pie chart showing you where the expenditures are being at. So next, I want to shift our attention to ARPA, and that's the American Rescue Plan Act. So back on July 9th, we actually brought the ARPA worksheet to council. We presented a little chart that showed how we were planning on spending these funds. Now, it's important to remember that what we did is that we programmed the funds over 2 years because that's how we're receiving the funds. Back in May of last year, 2021, we did receive about $11 million, short, a little bit over $11 million. And this May or June, we expect to receive another $11 million. So we split it up amongst the 2 years with the stipulation that this money has to be spent by December 31st of 2024. And so as staff went through and decided, okay, this is what we can do and this is what we need to shift over, there was revisions made. So in the staff report, you'll note that there was a second sheet included that was color-coded. I believe the yellow indicated that it was additions and the green was revisions, or it might have been reversed, I apologize. And so what I want to do is kind of go over that right now, and you can see exactly what the revisions were, what the new additions were. So essentially what we have in terms of the additions, we did add $30,000 to that for development services to purchase a planning online platform through Acela. And so this isn't using any new monies, it's using monies that were still not programmed anywhere. So we wanted to be sure that we programmed all the money, all of the 22.1, so we can use it up. And so 30,000 can be used for this particular service because it's a customer service oriented type of platform. We went ahead and added an additional 16,000 for trenching to the master plan of the IT broadband program that they're working on, and added an additional 15,000 to the fiber master plan as well. Something new that we didn't have before, and we just got these testing kits in probably about a month ago, the COVID-19 self-test kits. So we got about $4,000 worth of those in. That's put on the sheet, and that's new, as you'll see from there. And then lastly, we had about almost $30,000 remaining. So we programmed that towards summer youth programs. And so that can be used in the community services for summer youth programs, and that's what we did that was new to the sheet itself. And then lastly, this is just revisions, items that were moved from year 1 to year 2 because we didn't think we'd be able to fulfill them in that first year. And so the first one I mentioned before was that backfilling of the general fund revenues of roughly $4 million. We shifted it from year 2 to year 1. Thus, you see the incoming revenues for year 1 on that $4 million. And then we had about $348,000 in IT projects that were moved from year 1 to year 2. Again, we didn't think we'd be able to do that before June 30, so we shifted that to year 2. And then within community services, there was various projects moved between years 1 and year 2. Most of them included here, and we had the early childhood classroom, Enchanted Hills Park, Fossfield, Mark Mercado Park, Paris Green City Farm, Copper Creek, and I did put Cooper, so I apologize, I should say Copper, and Paragon Park. So there's just shifting between funds of year 1 and year 2, and that's all that was. And so what we come down to, I think that's it right there. So I'm going to stop right there, conclude the presentation. If there's any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer. I also have all the department directors here available to answer any questions you may have. And that concludes my report, Mr. Mayor and City Council.
Thank you, Mr. Reyna.
Mayor.
Council,
Is it okay if I go?
yes. go
Okay,
ahead.
all right. You know what? It was a great job on the presentation, Mr. Reyna. I wonder if you could go back to that pie chart, though. I had a question on that.
This one here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. You know, for the 11% for the other taxes, you know, I'm not asking you to list every single one, but what are examples of what that might be?
Yeah, and actually, Stephen, right here. Yeah, Stephen, can you give me some examples that come up? He could probably answer this better a lot.
Sorry to
than
put
I
you on the
can.
spot.
That's
but,
all right.
you know.
That's all right. We
Like-
have
like-
those. He can give
I
you.
feel like
those.
11% was pretty
It
significant.
is. It is.
To
So
just
Stephen,
group it up.
you have those?
Yes.
It's that 6.2
Yeah.
roughly. Just some examples.
Yeah, I don't have the total breakdown here, but other taxes include, do we have franchise tax here? Let me quickly open it.
He actually has our financials, so he's going to try
Yeah.
to break that down. Off the top of your head, you don't remember. No,
Okay, we have official.
Just give us some examples of what
Yeah.
they are. Just
All right.
roughly.
So other taxes, we have something like permits and fee. We have something like So licenses, permits, and fee, which is not a separate item there. So 1, 2, 3, and then we have special assessment, and then those are all. So we have licenses, permits, and fee. Pieces. But what I would do is I can get a breakdown and send to the council.
Okay, great, thank you.
So we have a couple of small taxes.
Yeah. So maybe like building fees and stuff like that?
Yeah, it's essentially anything that doesn't fit in those other categories.
I get it,
And
okay.
it's based on what the audit shows up on the financials. They're just not categorized anywhere else, so they throw them into what's called other. And so, we can provide you with a breakdown of every single one of those and what that accounts for.
That's
We
fine.
can show you that as well. But it's just not one of the bigger categories, so they don't call it that. So you have a bunch of little items that make up one big item.
Right,
That's essentially what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
And then for the, I wonder if you could go to the revenue I'm sorry, our reserves.
Reserve, sure.
The one with the reserves.
This one here?
Yeah, that one right there. Okay, so for the uncommitted, how much was it the year before?
When we did this on June 8th, it actually was about 18 and a half. Do you have that,
You want
Stephen?
18.5 million.
Yeah, so in the time that we've done this since June 8th, it's grown almost $1 million.
Okay.
So it's grow. And again, this doesn't account for any adjustments or amendments we're doing tonight, because typically that'll happen when the year end closes, once we know what the revenues and the expenditures are. So that could grow again. But as of right now, we're looking at about $19.4 million.
Okay, so every year is pretty much grown.
It has the past couple of years. So as long as our revenues exceed our expenditures, that will grow.
Right, okay. Okay, that's all the questions I have right now. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't see anybody else in the queue. Oh, Councilwoman Rogers?
Yes, I just have some comments to make. I'd like to thank Mr. Rayner for the presentation. It's great to see that our revenues continue to increase year after year. Our reserves are still healthy even after we paid our pension. So that's a good accomplishment to see that we're still very fiscally solvent and that we have enough money to do what's necessary, as well as maybe looking to expand some additional projects that we can do in the future.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I was going to bring this up during our council comments, but since we're here and it has to do with Arpa, I might as well bring it now. First of all, thank you for the presentation. It was good, and it's always healthy reserves. But I'd like to see if Parks and Recs Committee can maybe dive in and look into doing a aquatic center. I noticed back when I was doing some research on the archives of the city, that was introduced back in 2005, I want to say maybe 7. It's been a lot of talk, but community services is getting a lot of money of this art money, a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, we have park fees from the warehouses that can do probably a lot of those projects.
Mm-hmm.
I would like for at least Parks and Recs to look into the feasibility of maybe shifting those funds to do an aquatic center and just work on those other park projects as we get our park fees. Just something to think about. It's something that is needed in this community. We meaning everybody in this dais, my colleagues and myself, I know we get emails and people asking us all the time about things that we need for their kids, and I think that would be a great study.
So for a comment to that, at the last few Parks and Rec meeting, we've actually been discussing that, because the aquatic center is actually our most requested item from our residents. So we're currently in the talk. It's all a matter of cost, obviously, but we could go small or big, or
Well,
But yeah, but I definitely agree.
I appreciate that, and what I would appreciate more is we don't go cheap, we don't go small. If you're gonna do something, you need to do it right. We've done so many projects in the city with street-wide improvements, blah, 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 and we never go to the ultimate. Bridges aren't built to the ultimate, now we're going back, redoing it. Think this one out, vet it out, come back to us with a good concept, and let's bring something good to our community if we can do it. Okay, thank you, Ernie.
Thank you.
Hold on. Councilwoman Nava?
Thank you, Mayor. Just to add to that, I was also going to save these comments for my council communications, but it has been brought up to my attention that the 227 building needs some major renovations, upgrades of compounding issues. So if we could go ahead and really dive into that.
Definitely.
Again, just to feed off of what the mayor said, it seems like we're doing a lot of catch up, but
Definitely.
I'm wondering if there's a time now, since there's funds available, to just go ahead, maybe, I don't know what needs to be done, but if we could follow through and just have a whole plan of action for that building and any other city hall areas that need improvements, if we could just dive deep. I know we've been, remodeling as we go, but again, just to make sure that we even allocate additional offices for future. I noticed that we are limited with space, and if we are to, our city's growing and we're adding staff, if we could also have dedicated spaces for new office space as well, and make sure that they're up to code and that they're usable and workable for our staff and our residents. Thank you.
Definitely. Okay, thank you.
227 is being looked at already, and that's why we bought the building across the street too, so you're spot on. Appreciate those comments, thank you. Okay, nobody else? All right, let me see if there's any public comment. Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak on this side? You can sit down.
No.
Ernie, you can sit down. IT?
Yes, sir. We have Nanette Plasencia.
Okay, Nanette, you got 3 minutes.
Hi, yeah, I just wanted to bring up the question of where is the money going to be taken away from to cover the spot shotter you guys just approved? Because I heard him talking about the budget, and I know money is going to have to be diverted out of there, out of somewhere to provide for that. It's just too bad that the money you're about to spend on the spot shotter couldn't have been spent on providing programs to enrich our youth's minds instead. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else, IT?
No, sir.
Thank you. Okay, guess we need a motion on this item. We need to approve this. Entertain a motion to approve. I have Councilwoman Nava. Motion, second by Councilman Rab. Please call roll call vote.
Councilmember Rab,
Yes.
Councilmember Rogers,
Yes.
Councilmember Nava,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Corona,
Yes.
Mayor Vargas,
Yes,
5-0, motion approved.
thank you. Okay, item 13 is our council communications. We'll start with Councilwoman Nava.
Thank you, Mayor. Once again, thank you all for tonight's meeting, for all the staff for answering our questions, the residents who've chimed in today, and my colleagues for making the great decisions that we do. My comments are really, really short today. Just wanted to thank our city staff and all the residents who participated in the Take a Hike event. And I encourage you all to keep an eye out for future events. I know those are really well attended, and our staff is experts at this point, so keep an eye out for future hikes. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Rogers?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd just like my colleagues to hold the date of June 23rd. I'm happy to announce that WRCOG will be bringing back the in-person General Assembly this year. And hopefully we'll be able to participate in that. It will be back at Pechanga, and we'll have a very interesting speaker. I've been sworn to secrecy. We can't release his name yet, but I'm sure you'll find him very interesting. And for all former Western Community Energy customers that have all went back to Southern California Edison as of now, if you have back bills that are still outstanding, please contact Southern California Edison. We had a presentation earlier this afternoon on a number of assistance programs they have to help you with some of those back bills. So please reach out to Southern California Edison. I know we've been speaking about putting reflectors on the interchange of Dunlap and San Jacinto. The other night, there was a very serious car accident there involving 6 vehicles. A couple of times in the last 2 weeks, I've almost been rear-ended making that left on San Jacinto, coming into Dunlap myself. So I know we're waiting to have some input from the county as far as putting those reflectors down. But if we could expedite that, it is becoming a very dangerous interchange there. And then I'd like to anyone that is a prayer person to please keep former council member Al Landers lifted in prayer. This is his 3rd week at the hospital at Loma Linda and Murrieta, suffering from COVID, and he's still trying to combat that. So if you'd keep him lifted up in prayer. And those are my comments this evening. Thank you.
Councilwoman Rogers, the rear end accident, was the person traveling east or westbound on Nuevo?
No. The accident was actually coming down San Jacinto, turning into Dunlap.
Oh, okay, I thought it was Nuevo. I thought we were working on Nuevo and Dunlap.
It's San Jacinto and Dunlap.
Mayor, we're working on San Jacinto and Dunlap to add delineators and reflectors on the double and restripe the area so it lights up when they see it at night. Right now, the plans are at the county waiting for the encroachment permit because we got to do it on both the city side and county side.
Okay, but Nuevo and Dunlap has been a series of complaints as well. That's not even in the works?
We had complaints about that at city council. We went out, we added stop signs, we put the batteries back in the flashers on the stop signs that they were operating so you could see them.
This is a signal light, but the reflectors are like hardly there anymore. We need to redo the reflectors on Nuevo and Dunlap in that area as well.
Okay.
I thought we were doing that, but okay.
And I'm also got confused, I was talking about
Why
another
can't
road.
we move forward on the city side and the county can take however long they want to get on their side? At least we start the ball rolling on our side. We don't need their approval, do we?
We need their approval to do work within their right of way, but we would do the same thing we're doing at San Jacinto and Dunlap. We do the plans, then we submit them to the county for their approval.
So how long
and
have
then
you been
we do
waiting
it.
for that from them?
They've had,
Months.
I wouldn't say months, weeks.
Okay, well, would you please email me who the person is so that I can personally call the person? Because this county drags and drags, and I think we as a council can also complain to their appropriate supervisor as well. We're always waiting on the county. We're always waiting on utilities. This is ridiculous. I don't know, we're gonna wait till someone dies here. So please get who it is we need to talk to at the county level so we can start addressing it.
Will do.
Thank you. Okay, and one more thing, Ms. Rogers, you said March 23rd is the WRCOG event?
No, June 23rd.
Oh, I was way off. Thank you.
June, yes.
All right, and who's going to perform?
I can't tell you yet.
Thought I'd get you on that one.
I can
Okay.
give you a hint. It's from the tech world,
All right.
and it's not an orange.
Councilman Rab.
Yes, thank you. Once again, I'd like to thank all the speakers for participating in this meeting. I'd like to thank everyone that attended the Take a Hike event as well, and thank Community Service for putting on a well-attended event. This past Friday, I had the opportunity, along with Mayor Vargas, to attend the 100th birthday celebration for Willie Moses at the Good Hope Community Center. It was very impactful and a very positive celebration regarding her 100 years on this earth and 65 years in the Good Hope, Paris Valley area and all the great things she's done. So once again, I'd like to thank her family for inviting us, and it was a great event. I'd like to also thank the IT department for highlighting Black history on the city's social media pages. It's been very informative and hopefully informing the community about the contributions of African Americans in the Paris Valley. A few quick things I'd like to bring to staff's attention. One is regarding traffic. So there's a crosswalk at the corner of Paris Boulevard and 6th Street. It's a four-way crosswalk. I would like to direct staff to consider possibly removing that crosswalk and painting a crosswalk at the intersection or lined pedestrian lines, the intersection of 7th and Paris. I think it was about 5 or 6 years, no, it's longer than that, it was about 10 years ago, they put the stop signs four-way on 7th and Paris. It used to be you had to stop on 7th and you could go on Paris. And the crosswalk at 6th and Paris, I think was placed at the time there was a RTA stop on 6th Street where it indents at, but since then RTA has vanquished or is no longer using that spot. So possibly we can vacate those 4 crosswalks at 6th and Paris and paint the lines where the 4-way stop sign is at 7th and Paris Boulevard, if it makes sense. Another thing is back in 2017, we widened Paris Boulevard. It's great. However, on the eastbound side from San Jacinto on down to the Dan's Feet and Seed scale, it could use a little landscaping. Maybe we can look into possibly putting drought-tolerant plants. So this is the section that's at the vacant lot at San Jacinto to the alley between San Jacinto and First Street. The brick wall that they pushed back where the fuel station is, it's dirt from there. You cross the street where the rental yard is, there's sidewalk, there's dirt, there's a chain link fence for the rental yard. You go beyond the alley there, and then there's another vacant lot with a big chinaberry tree. I think someone pushed a bunch of dirt around it because people were parking there. And then you go across 3rd Street, there's the scales for the Dan's Feet and Seed, so that's the scale's still there. So maybe possibly looking into beautifying that area, adding some trees, and looking at the lighting on the eastern side of that street. The western side is pretty well lit down in front of the car wash, I think the building owned by the people from Todek, the empty lot there. That side's pretty well lit, but the other side is completely dark at night. So those are just 2 things to look at. And once again, I'd like to thank staff for your commitment and serving the city of Paris. Thank you.
Councilman Redd, do you have the notes written down somewhere on that? Can you forward the beautification parts to me for our beautification committee so we can follow up?
Yes, I'll put it in an email and get it to you by midday tomorrow.
Thanks, 'cause I couldn't, you lost me right away on that. Okay, all right, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. I would want to start out by thanking our speakers today, starting with Natalie Solares, with regarding kind of beautification and environmental, for the environmental concerns. I did bring it up a few meetings ago about, like possibly maybe doing a program for trees, but I want to direct staff to look into possible, like a possible, maybe a diff or some kind of program where for every so many square feet of industrial space that a tree is planted somewhere in the city, to help to reduce emissions concerns and all that. With regards to the safety concerns about the spending, I keep thinking back on February 2020, and it was a really dark time in our city, where we had 5 homicides in a matter of 10 days. And the whole city council chambers were just packed with concerned citizens, and they were absolutely demanding that we spend more money to help with the reduction of crime. So when there's a something where our own law enforcement comes up to us and with the committee, with our council members, when they bring up an item that's proven in other places to help reduce crime, we do take it very serious here in the city of Paris. So I hope that kind of addresses those concerns. If any residents want to speak with me about it or any other issues, feel free to just reach out. Not this Saturday, but the Saturday before, I attended the Lake Paris hike with my colleagues here, where 160 residents joined in and hiking up to Terry Peak and Lake Paris. It was just a beautiful day. Staff did a phenomenal job of organizing it. So thank you for that. This past Saturday, I attended the recent park cleanup with many of our residents and including non-residents as well too, because about half a dozen kids from the Moreno Valley High School Robotics Club of all things, they all came out and they joined in the to get community service. So I want to thank everyone that helped clean up Copper Creek Park, not Cooper Creek, Copper Creek. So big thank you to all the residents that came out and help for the residents in that community to enjoy their park. And then I just want to kind of comment on what Councilwoman Rogers brought up about Dunlap and San Jacinto. I too drive there on a regular basis as well too, driving my son back and forth to school. But I would also include that we look into Wilson and San Jacinto. It's always a really tense place as I'm trying to make a left turn, and cars are coming behind me, and there's really no lane divider, and of course the oncoming traffic as well too. So we could kind of look at that. I think maybe just expanding that street, and since both the streets are inside the city of Paris, it's not something that we have to go and ask the county about. So that's all the comments for me. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm going to go slow because I'm trying to end the meeting at 8:22. I appreciate the comments as well from public. We always ask our public to come out and make comments, so thank you for coming out. I mentioned the Aquatic Center already. Student of the Month, another great event, as usual. I attended the 22nd Raincross Trophy Dinner along with our city manager, our deputy city manager, our economic development manager. This is a trophy dinner honoring the best of the best for the U.S. 4th Air Force. This was held at the Museum of the March Airfield Reserve Base. A very good program. It's been going on for quite some time, but it's always a blessing to go and honor our troops. The Take a Hike event, as Mayor Pro Tem mentioned, thank you, staff. You guys are always on it, putting on great programs, and I'm glad to see that we had so many residents come out. I attended the Pacific Communities Recreation Center grand opening. That's the Pacific Community Homes that's at Orange and Paris Boulevard. I think it's like 128 homes. A really nice facility there, and a really nice rec center as well, with the dog park is included. I missed our senior Valentine's Day luncheon. I try to be at every senior event. Sometimes it's just not possible, but I want to thank staff. I understand it was a really good turnout. And once again, to our community services for putting on a great program for our seniors. And just to piggyback on Mayor Pro Tem, with comments made with public safety, I mean, you can't put a price on one life, and one life is too many to lose. And public safety, this council takes it very serious, and we do our best to provide the best that we can with our public safety, and it does cost the majority of our budget, and we do what it takes to keep our community safe. So that being said, IT, can you turn on my slideshow? This is where I'm going to expand my time to 8:22. Nah, not really. Okay, I've been talking about this. You went too far. You got to go back up. There we go. So I've been bringing to the council what's been going on with the RCHCA, that's the Riverside County Habitat Conservation Agency. This is the downlisting of the Stevens kangaroo rat. Okay, now you can hit the next slide. So, I didn't give a lot of history, but I did give some histories, but just to throw out some more, this was actually established in 1996, and it actually covers 46,000 acres throughout the southwest Riverside County, including City of Paris. It was enlisted as endangered by the United States Fish and Wildlife Services in 1988. SKR is a keystone species, which means no other animal could take its place in the local ecosystem. And what's unique, thank you, and what's unique about this, the RCHCA is only 7 employees, and you can technically knock the one off and bring it down to 6. 4 are in the field and 2 are running the office, and then the 7th one is the actual executive director, which he just delegates everything. So you got really 5-6 people running this program to protect this little critter. Of a little over $1 million is the budget. And finally, it's official as of February 17th, as listed on the screen, in 2022, the United States Fish and Wildlife has officially downlisted the SKR from endangered to threatened. Yeah, this is big.
All right.
It's, he's not, it's not disgusting. It's not this big rodent. I mean, this is a cute little critter, and it's got this long tail, and he leaps 12 feet at a time. That's why they call him the kangaroo. But anyway, it's not over. It's just downlisted. The RCHCA is still going to be around. So next slide, please. So that being said, you're still going to be seeing all this habitat management, and you see a lot of controlled burns. It's called stink net. The bottom picture, the little cute, what looks to be pretty little red or yellow flowers. that's a stink net plant, and that can kill the little SKR. So that's the control burns and what they have to do with all this land that they have to help keep this little guy alive. So it's pretty amazing what this group of 4 men do out there on the team, monitoring all this reserve, making sure people aren't out there destroying the property or endangering this little critter. So I think there's one more or not. So that's it. But anyway, I just wanted to bring it official that it is officially now that it has now been downlisted, and I believe we're the first in California to get a downlisting of an animal. That's pretty good stuff. With that, it's getting close. You're gonna have to stretch it.
I'm gonna try.
Okay, so we're if not, we're just gonna sit here. We're just gonna sit here and pause for a while. I'm not gonna adjourn.
I think we'll make it.
All right. Item 14 is our city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to announce that the COVID-19 testing site here on campus at Perry City Hall remains open Thursday through Monday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Walk-ins and appointments are welcomed. Also, the city will be hosting a virtual parent workshop for the new Child Care Assistance Program on Wednesday, February 23rd at 6:30 p.m. You can obtain additional information at the city's website. Through a state urban forest grant, the Public Works Department will be hosting an urban forestry workshop and a tree planting workshop. And these will take place, the tree planting event will take place on March 12th, Saturday morning at 9 a.m., and the workshop will take place on March 5th at 8:30 a.m., also on a Saturday. You can register online at the city's website and look for further information if you'd like to contact the Public Works Department. I'd also like to congratulate the Community Services Department as they were selected for a State Parks and Recreation Society Award for excellence in design in the Getz Park. So great job, Community Services. And lastly, we have a presentation from the IT department. The IT department has begun the 2022 spring campaign for Shop Local. The city wants to promote businesses on social media and YouTube to ensure that our businesses thrive. And with that, I'd like to introduce IT Supervisor Paul Lopez.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Council, and City staff. I'll try to be slow. The City of Paris's IT department has begun the 2022 spring campaign, Shop Local. It's an extension of the Check Out Paris campaign that was launched late last year. So what we're planning to do is to promote local businesses on the City of Paris's social media feed. We'd like to expand local brand awareness and encourage residents to shop locally. Over the past several weeks, we've begun promoting this campaign by hand delivering flyers to local businesses all throughout the city. We're also partnering with the Paris Valley Chamber of Commerce with the help of the Economic Development Team. So we'll be out there this Thursday on the 24th giving the same speech to all the local businesses. And pretty much what we're going to do is we're going to promote a video spotlighting local businesses, what they offer, how they started, where they're located, any tidbit the shop owner or the business owner would like to add to the video. And we'll continue with businesses like this as the series moves forward. And this will all be promoted on the city's social media feed at no cost to the business. For more information, businesses are encouraged to reach out to the social media team at the email socialmedia@cityofparis.org or call them by phone at 951-385-4139. And with that, let's play the video.
The City of Paris wants to promote your business on social media free of charge. We'd love to expand your brand awareness and encourage residents to shop locally. Promotion will include a video spotlighting your business with the shop tour, interview, and a service review to be featured on social media, YouTube, and Channel 3. If you are interested, contact the social media team at 951-385 4139 or email us at socialmedia@cityofparis.org for more information. And don't forget to follow the City of Paris on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and hit subscribe to Paris TV on YouTube for more.
Wasn't long enough.
Well, thank you. Thank you, IT, for that wonderful presentation. That concludes city manager's reports, but I also like to remind you that tomorrow morning, we do have the homeless point in time count at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning. We'll be getting together at the the senior center.
Do we have a presentation on that? All right, I'm not gonna keep stretching that, even though I missed it by 5 minutes, I think. 4 minutes, not bad. Well, we can stay to 22 hours. Okay, everybody, brings us to item 15, which is our adjournment at 8:18 p.m. Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
We forgot. Saturday is the Black History Committees.
Saturday, we're having so we're not adjourned yet. Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me back up. I gotta write this down first. Saturday. 9 o'clock, is it no, we have the Unity Walk first. Let me get my calendar. Hold on. I'll have to verify it on my computer, my phone. Hold on, please. Thank you. I can't find the date.
26 February.
Yeah, so 9:30 is the community walk, 9:30 to 10. And that's gonna start at the Mercado Park, which is on D Street, and 10th, 11th, 10th. And then we'll walk all the way over to Foss Field. Then, starting at 10 o'clock, all the way through 4 p.m. will be the Black History Celebration, and that's always held at the Foss Field and on the campus as well, so. And then at 3 o'clock, I have my tax appointment. Oops, I'm going too far. And then 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock is the Paris Depot. So don't forget about the Depot After Dark program that's at the Paris Depot. How am I doing on time? 3 minutes. I can't stretch it. Okay. Thank you for reminding me about that, Councilwoman Rogers. Black History Month, great deal this month, a lot of history. Okay, folks, again, thank you for joining us.
If you could congratulate the Rams.
Oh, yes, and congratulations to our Rams. She's really helping me on this one, isn't she? You know what, that's big, because I grew up in Los Angeles and born in 61. That was my team, Rams, until they left, so big prompts to them. Oh, God, it's 2 more minutes. I hope everybody had a nice Valentine's Day. Yeah, I got her flowers. All right. All right, guys, I can't abuse everybody no more. Everybody's tired. The staff has been here a long day. We almost made it. Okay, so we're going to adjourn at 8:20 p.m. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you for viewing us on social media. Hopefully, we'll be online again on Channel 3 soon. Okay. Good night, everyone. Thank you.